Israel's self-declared 7-hour truce has ended. The Palestinians insist there was no such thing after an airstrike on a refugee camp in Gaza City. Joining us from Jerusalem is Bennet, leader of the Jewish Home Party and also the Economy Minister. Minister, thank you for joining us on Sky News this afternoon. Talk to us about a humanitarian ceasefire. What does it mean to Israel?
It means that we unilaterally stop shooting and fighting Gaza, even if they continue shooting back. Though if we see them that they're risking us specifically, we do intercept those particular shots. What we're trying to do for the past several weeks, again and again and again, is unilaterally stop shooting at them, and hopefully they'll stop shooting at us. It's not worked until now.
What happened in the last 7 hours?
Again, we stopped shooting, but they resumed the shooting. At the end of the day, what our goal is to live side by side quietly with Gaza, for them to lead their lives and us ours, but they don't stop. It's sort of this crazy situation where they continue shooting. They've shot over 3,000 rockets on Israel over the past few weeks. And again, all we're saying is stop shooting, and we will too.
Thank goodness for that Iron Dome that you have. Where is safe in Gaza at the moment?
Well, you know, we're proud to have a technology that intercepts missiles in midair. That's where we invest our money in protecting our citizens. Unfortunately, in Gaza, they invest their money in producing missiles to shoot on Israelis. So it's an awkward situation. Our ultimate goal is for Gaza to disarm itself and to stop shooting, and then we can live side by side quietly.
So the latest report suggesting that a refugee camp was hit today. Certainly, we haven't confirmed that yet, but certainly a UN-run school was hit on Sunday, and that's not for the first time. How can you reconcile that and the casualties that it causes?
Well, Hamas has a deliberate policy of shooting from within schools. Again and again and again, they shoot at Israelis from within schools, within UN refugee camps, from within hospitals. They have a very cynical and cowardly way of fighting. They fight defending themselves by using civilians as a human shield. And then when we shoot back, the civilians die, and then they can complain. That's their strategy. It's a terrible strategy, and I call on them to stop that right away.
Okay, so you know that civilians are there. You know that it's a human shield. You know that children are in these refugee camps, and you shoot them anyway?
What would you do? You know, if you were walking on the street and someone was carrying his son but shooting you and your family, would you just lie back and wait to die? We sort of want to live here. And we call on Hamas and the international community to stop this right now. They're using their own people in such a cynical and cowardly fashion. We're defending ourselves, and we're not going to apologize for defending ourselves. This is a huge tragedy that Hamas is inflicting on its own people. Effectively, it's murdering its own women and children.
Interesting that you use that terminology, because François Hollande of France has urged action against what he described as the Gaza massacres. You would disagree with that terminology, presumably?
Well, you know, 70 Israelis were killed over the past few weeks. And perhaps the international community is thinking that maybe if 700 Israelis or 7,000 Israelis died, that would be okay. Well, I will give up the sympathy and rather have my own family live. They've shot over 3,000 missiles at my hometown in Ra'anana, in Tel Aviv, and Jerusalem, and I find it unacceptable that we're being condemned and not the folks who are shooting at us. And you know, we're at the forefront of the war on terror, and I expect the world to support us. If it doesn't, this terror is going to hit London and Paris and Madrid. You know, 9 years ago in London, there were terror attacks and buses were blowing up. Where was the only place in the world that celebrated this rather than condemn? It was in Gaza, where they handed out candy to celebrate the deaths of British citizens. This is what we're dealing with.
Okay. The human cost of destroying the tunnels, 1,800 people, women, children, men, and counting. What number would be acceptable to Israel?
I want zero deaths. We want zero
Bit late for that.
casualties. This can all go away in one moment. If Hamas decides to stop shooting, disarm itself, this whole thing goes away. And I would expect the world to apply the pressure on the aggressor, the folks who started, the folks who will not stop it. You know, even today, for 7 hours, we stopped shooting, stopped fighting unilaterally. They continued.
So you didn't, though, did you? You didn't stop fighting for 7 hours at all?
Oh, yes, we did. But when they shoot at us, we have to shoot back.
So you didn't stop?
Something else. We also, you know, I ask you, what would you do? What would you do if you were shot at? Would you just wait and hope for the best?
What do you want to leave behind when you finally withdraw from Gaza?
Peace and quiet. I hope that after this ends, and I hope it ends now, and you know, it could end at any moment, I would hope that Gaza and the Palestinians decide to invest the dollars that will be coming in building a flourishing economy instead of building a fortress of terror, building schools instead of terror tunnels, okay, kindergartens instead of missile launchers. That's all they need to do. It's their choice.
And where are we on the two-state solution?
We're nowhere, because whenever we pulled out of the Gaza Strip 9 years ago, back to the 67 lines. We expelled 8,000 Israelis. There's no Jews living in Gaza anymore. They had all the opportunity to found their own state there, and instead they turned it, instead of a Monaco or Singapore, they turned it into an Afghanistan. And that was their big mistake. I hope this time they choose otherwise.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed for joining us here on Sky News this afternoon.